Many thanks to DayZ Podcast, Pandemonium, Lion Lost, Wolves of DayZ, and the Great Escape server for making this video possible. For the longest of time, many have believed that you cannot shoot items inside another player's hands, but this is a scam created by the Illuminati because there's a secret hitbox for all items in DayZ, meaning that all weapons can be destroyed to disarm players and generate some pretty damn explosive results. So in this video, we're going to investigate the strange world of handheld hitboxes and which items make the best riot shields in DayZ. In DayZ 1.19, the devs added some super useful tools to help modders and server owners with their creations, with one of the menu options allowing us to view hitboxes of our characters and the hitboxes of items too, which is pretty damn cool stuff. Now we've gone over how these hitboxes work in another video if you want to learn more here, but in this video we're going to be focusing on these mysterious Illuminati triangles instead. These triangles represent the position of the left and the right hand, as you can see from moving my hand here, but they also represent the position of handheld objects too. Now if you didn't know, it is long believed that items inside our hands cannot become damaged because, as demonstrated here, there is a lot of evidence for this theory. However, if you extend a line across the palm of the right hand behind our characters and then draw a line from the shortest side of the triangle associated with that hand, you get the true position of where the handheld item's hitbox actually is, allowing us to damage the handheld item. This works with all items that you can hold in DayZ, every single one, with the size and rotation of the item remaining exactly the same, basically meaning that the hitbox of the item is merely misaligned to where these two lines cross instead. And again, this applies to all items that can be placed in your hands in DayZ. So if you have an item in your hand, this hitbox can be attached, damaging the item in your hand if you're the lucky recipient of a bullet, or if you're the attacker, this hitbox can slow down or entirely stop a bullet in its track, defending the person you're trying to shoot. Now if you've launched DayZ at least once in your lifetime, you'll know that you can move your hands, change stances, and there are many different hand positions for holding objects in DayZ, making it very difficult to know exactly where these two lines will cross and therefore where the hitbox of the item is at a glance, especially when this hitbox moves with the arc of throwing an item or swinging a melee weapon. Disarming a player holding a melee weapon is very possible, as a ruined weapon will drop to the floor if you attempt to attack with it. So to disarm a one-handed melee weapon from a player, we follow the same rule as before, a line across the palm behind the player to where this triangle intersects, giving us the true location of where the sickle hitbox is actually located. The model is here, where the actual hitbox is here. This means one-handed melee weapons in a neutral position will be behind the character here, but when held to attack a player, it will be near the floor instead because the hand has changed position, remembering that it maintains the same rotation and size as seen here with the sledgehammer shaped bullet impact markers that I've created. Two-handed melee weapons follow the same logic, line across the right palm and you get to the hitbox here. So because the sledgehammer is held in a different animation, the hitbox is here instead in a neutral position for all two-handed weapons in DayZ, remembering that the rotation and size of each individual item will be different. Like melee weapons, firearms also become useless when ruined as they no longer fire, and again the same line gives away the position of this hitbox with firearms, with the hitbox being directly below when you aim down sights. This applies to every single firearm in DayZ, with bigger weapons having bigger hitboxes. This obviously means that one-handed firearms are more difficult to disarm compared to two-handed ones that are bigger, but you can hide this hitbox entirely by simply crouching. This is because the hitbox of all firearms goes underground when you go in the crouch stance, or even further underground when you go in the prone stance. Finally, for disarming players, we come to handheld explosives like grenades, gas grenades, flashbangs, etc., which, as I said earlier, can be shot like every other item in DayZ that can be held in your hands, but the size of grenades is incredibly small, nonetheless possible to shoot still. This means that WOBO was wrong. Explosives in your hands are not 100% safe, like I told you in this video, so the only safe way to carry explosives is inside the plate carrier pouches attached to the plate carrier attached to you, inside the utility butt pack attached to the assault vest attached to you, or inside a container inside your inventory. Anywhere else, and these four explosives will detonate when ruined because they can become damaged inside your inventory, with all explosives potentially detonating when they are placed in your hands, so your hands are not a safe place for explosives to be held, apart from plastic explosives, which requires the detonator to trigger. So the best riot shields are going to be the ones that are large in size, are positioned to protect our character's vital areas and reduce the speed of bullets, or ideally, stop them completely. Now, while many of the items that come to mind already cover our characters very nicely, the hitbox position is misaligned like I said earlier and throughout this video, so the actual position of the hitbox for this door is here instead of here, so this door isn't very good at protecting us. Not that this really matters, doors, hoods, trunks and wheels are easily shot through in DayZ and rarely cover the vital organs of our character's body, so the chart for doors, hoods, trunks and wheels looks like this: good in size, okay hitbox position, but bad bullet resistance. However, all of these can protect us from the flare gun cartridges and the M79 smoke rounds, as these have absolutely no penetration power in DayZ and cannot penetrate any surface, which means every handheld object is going to protect you from these if it hits the hitbox, with the penetration ranks looking like this in DayZ at the moment, the Pioneer being the king. The radiator for vehicles is 100% bulletproof, not even the Pioneer can get through this, so it gets a 10 out of 10 for bullet resistance, but only protects the legs of our characters and it isn't very big in size, so scores low on the other ones, which is the case for the gas canister too. They're very similar, although this gas canister is slightly bigger than the radiator. Holding a vest can protect you from bullets too, coming in a one-handed or two-handed animation depending on the vest that you hold, both of which have their hitboxes behind the character and are both completely bulletproof. All helmets are held in one hand and are positioned very strangely, have a small size and are not very bullet resistant either, so they score low here. It's the same case for the frying pan and the cooking pot, poor in all areas. The larger stone does have 100% bullet resistance but is small in size and has a strange position like helmets. Another strange position goes to the wooden log and how it's to the side of our characters instead, although bullet resistant and okay in size. The wooden plank though is in a much better position in front of our characters, sadly losing a lot of its bullet resistance due to it losing a lot of its thickness. Again, due to thickness, while made of metal too, the huge metal plate is less bullet resistant than a wooden plank, but due to its size covers a much bigger area. The generator is only a little bit more bullet resistant than this surprisingly, so less bullet resistant than a wooden plank, lacking in size and having a similar position to vehicle doors at the base of our characters. The sea chest and wooden crate are basically the same, with the sea chest being bigger, but both providing nearly no bullet resistance at all, even with stuff inside. This is also the case with the regular barrel and the fire barrel, very low bullet resistance on these. Tents that are held in your hands are absolutely terrible at improvised riot shields because their hitbox is mostly underground, so score 0 because they don't do anything, and handheld containers like ammo boxes and protector cases provide almost no resistance to bullets either. The transceiver hitbox is just above the ground, so it's also in a bad position, but this item is 100% bulletproof, and so is the Alice backpack and the craftable bags in DayZ, where finally the camo netting seems to have no hitbox at all. I did test more, but no others were noteworthy or big enough to consider, and to be honest, none of these that I tested were any good as a mobile riot shield, especially when you need to swap out your weapon slot in order to carry this object. It's just not worth it. However, if we take all the best bullet resistant items and place them on the floor, we have 4 fantastic semi-mobile riot shields to hide behind, and we free our hands up too so we can shoot back at players. Of these 4, the best semi-mobile riot shield easily goes to the field backpack for its ability to keep you camo and gives you this curved edge to peek your weapon through, while also conveniently being attached to our players if you want to move to a new location and just drop it down to hide behind again. The radiator is second best for its width among the remaining semi-mobile shields, with the transceiver being the smallest, but also being the one that stops the explosive damage. None of the other ones will stop explosive damage. Now, while disarming players by shooting a moving invisible hitbox or using a vest as a riot shield is unlikely to happen, it's nice to be aware that these sneaky little hitboxes do exist and can explain why our weapons become damaged so quickly in some gunfights, why that player tanked an SVD round to the torso, or how that grenade exploded in your hands. For now at least then, you have another fantastic excuse of why you can't kill anybody in DayZ. It's not because your aim sucks, it's because invisible hitbox. And these hitbox misalignments have been in DayZ for several years now, or at least since 1.09. So you can now excuse all of your bad plays by simply linking your critics to this video. You're welcome. On a serious note though, if you do want to learn more about the complex world of DayZ hitboxes, this video is for you here. A big thank you to Cosmo for sending me down the invisible hitboxes rabbit hole that made this video possible. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.